Welcome back. This is Wisconsin Shoe Guy. Today we're going to do an unboxing, but unlike my other unboxings, I actually opened the box prior to this, and I'm glad that I did because these shoes were wrapped very well, and it would have taken forever to actually get to the shoes. They had two pairs of shoe bags on each one, and they were wrapped in plastic bags with bubble wrap, and then there was bubble wrap in the inside. It was a lot, but they wanted to make sure that the shoes traveled well. The box didn't really travel that well. I'm gonna have to clamp it, glue it in order to rescue it here. Got some dings, but that's okay. It is a shoe box, even though it's a beautiful wood box. So wanted to keep it. Now, I want to point out that they called me or reached out to me after the shoes were done and apologized that they weren't happy with the way the dye came out on the sole. And so they provided me with a couple of shoe creams and shoe polishes to make up for it. It's a very small outfit. This is a Point de Paris. And they make the shoes as they go. So it's not really practical for them to just start over on something that's going to wear off on the first day. So, but the shoes themselves are beautiful. And even when you see the soles, I think it might be a little overkill, but I'm very happy with it. The shoes are Havana, and they provided me with a Havana shoe cream. This is Havana here, and this one is tobacco, I believe. No, this is Parisian brown. So both colors that I don't have, so pretty happy with them in general. And then this is dark brown, and this is Havana, or tobacco brown. So again, really nice that they do that. And this is Point de Paris. Now, Point de Paris is actually the measurements that they use in European footwear. So I normally wear a 44, 43 and a half, depending on the shoe. I told them that I had a 44 on the U-Last from Vass and that it was pretty tight. And after seeing my measurements and everything else, they decided that I should go with a 44 and a half because it is based, their last is very similar in shape to the U-Last. And so I went with that. Hopefully it's right. I have not tried them on, so I can't speak to that. But very excited. Now, this brand came on the market, a bunch of Instagram photos at the beginning of last year. Buddy of mine on High End Shoes, who's also a mod with me on that group on Facebook, tried them out, recommended them. They are 3 eyelet Wholecuts. Now, this brand, when I say small, it's pretty small. They offer a Wholecut and they offer a Cap-Toe Oxford. That's it. But their shoes are beautiful. But they are also high end. So when you think about what you would normally pay for a pair of shoes, their shoes are all 850 euros, 700 without tax. So it's a it is a considerable investment. But the gentleman who ordered the pair is more of a shoe connoisseur than I am, and so I was very impressed that he was impressed. So here we go. Now, this is a 3 eyelet Wholecut. The leather itself, first time feeling it, is like butter. And they have the reinforced stitch on the top of the Wholecut, as they do. You can see that there's some hand carving here on the waist. The waist itself is a little bit of a bevel, but not bad. This is the stuff that they were worried about. They weren't real thrilled with. But overall, I think it's pretty good. The plates are very good. And again, that's the sole. I'm not terribly worried about it. The shoe itself is pristine. So really excited. Now, the heels are pitched pretty nicely. They are made with thick heels. It looks like. I can't really tell because it's, this is the problem with lighting. Sometimes you can't tell. I think I might need to get brighter lights, but yeah, they look like a relatively thick heel plates, but from a stack perspective. But the leather is just so soft. The lining is so soft. The lining really feels like upper leather, and this tongue is just super, super soft. So I can't wait to try them out. These are going to just feel like a dream when they're on. So super nice there. And you can see here how this is. And again, the sole. Really nice combination heel, a lot of rubber, which I like. I do wear through the rubber though, so that is something to keep in mind. Again, that nice pitch, not Cuban by any stretch, but a very well tapered heel. A very nice, this is machine Goodyear welt, but the finish is strong. The last is pretty aggressive. And, the 3 eyelet and the balance, the tongue length, the shoe trees, all combined here for just a very nice look. Now, I'm going to take these out and I'm going to compare them to some others. But before we do, they included a pair of flat laces as a spare pair, and then they included a pair of round laces as well, new from Saphir, which is very nice. These are the shoe bags that came with it. And as I said, there were 2 on each shoe, and just a really nice basic flannel. Still has the name of the company, which is great for me since I collect these. And so I'll take one out. Now, this is another thing that's kind of cool, is that they have felt at the bottom of the box. And here you can see this spacing here where, needs to be clamped. But this felt at the bottom of the box is new for me. That's not something that's common. That's more like on the, higher end boxes. So again, pretty nice. Not a very nice box. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take left shoes and I'm going to compare. So this is 800 euros. This is 800 euros. This is a George Cleverly Kingsman edition. This is 400. Right. So this is a Loke. And this is a Loke Parliament, so it's part of the export grade, but open channel. Very different quality of shoe. Finishing not to the same degree at all. Now these are suede, so you don't have any of the fudging or anything like that, but the finish on the soles is very nice. Got a nice Cleverly double row of nails, and they're fiddle with a very narrow waist. And a pretty nicely pitched heel as well. So, I mean, this is similar leather quality. The heel on these is a little bit thinner in terms of each stack of leather. But, aside from that one piece, everything else on this shoe definitely measures up. And I can say just the leather quality alone is better than the Loke. Now, the Loke leather quality is nice. Don't get me wrong, but it is nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to compare to another shoe, and I'm going to go across the continent here, and I'm going to take this one from Spain, and then I'm going to go higher up afterwards. But now if you look at this is on the Simpson last. This is a Carmina, and this is in NFJ Baker Russian calf, so you pay more for this. This is the same price from Carmina as Shell Cordovan. This is a hole cut, but it actually has the broguing in there for a faux Adelaide, so different. But this also has 6 eyelets. So when you see the 3 eyelets versus the 6 eyelets, that's a pretty big difference in how it looks and how it wears. Getting the spacing right on 3 eyelets is tricky. I only have 1 pair of 3 eyelets. I have 1 pair of 4. The 4 is from Meerman. The 3 is actually from Hephaestus and is very, very well balanced. So that's the difference there. Now, when we get into the high end, this is a Foster & Son. And this is an Acme. Okay, so now these are, now you're talking, $1,900, $2,000 kind of range. And you can start seeing some of the pieces on the last from the Pointe de Paris, where you have this rounding here with the sharp sides, right? Which is done on all of them. You can see the very fine finishing. Now, is the finishing quite as good on this as it is on these? No, not quite. It's close, but not quite. And you got to remember, this is machine, and this is hand, right? So you're going to see a significant difference there. But this is, you know, the rounding here is not, I mean, they may have done it by machine, because you could see that they didn't go all the way to the heel, and they went pretty far forward with it. But it's still nicely done, you know, in terms of that waist. So pretty nice. When you compare that to these, this, they notched it in. They went in here. It's rounded, but it's also it's like rounded at the edge, but not necessarily, you know, they just didn't have the machine cut it. They sanded this down by hand on both of those. Now this one, which has a much tighter waist, is much more hand wound. And this one actually has what looks like a blind welt at the top of that, where they sewed it in and then covered it with this. I mean, it's a very interesting piece. I've talked to Acme about how they do that. That's really intricate work. And you don't have, nor would I expect that here. This could be either Blake stitched, or they found a way to sew it. I don't think it's glued, but just as you look at that, it's not the same, but it's still very nice. And I think that's interesting. So that's a question I will ask them, and how they do that, and I'll add that to the description of the video. But I wanted to give you some perspective. You know, when you start talking about a new brand and they start charging, you know, this kind of money for it, you always ask, hey, wait a second, is that worth it? And this is really the test. When you look at these higher end shoes, the shape, the balance, the overall aesthetic is very, very similar to this. Now keep in mind, this has no polish on it, right? So I'm gonna say that these are justified in being in this price range. I'm not gonna talk about the price itself yet. I'll do that in a review after I've worn them for a few months. But I definitely am not disappointed with what I see out of the gate so far. So this is Wisconsin Shoe Guy, and this is a Pointe de Paris Cognac, or excuse me, Havana. They have 4 colors, I think. So this is the Havana Wholecut. Just a beautiful, beautiful shoe. And can't wait to get it on the hoof and see how it is. It is a little bit longer than my others, but that's to be expected. And actually, I think if I compare it to my Acme, it's pretty darn close. As I'm looking at this compared, it is actually a little shorter than my Acme. You know, for what it's worth. Now the Acme just has a very elongated toe. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line up the heels. You can kind of see a little bit shorter, not much. So again, Wisconsin Shoe Guy, thank you for watching. Please drop your comments in the area below, and thanks again.